If your sales have totally sucked in September 2025, I think I've uncovered the real reason. I've gotten a ton of emails, seen on X, and as well as seen on Reddit, that a lot of people's Etsy sales are completely in the dumps. Now, there are some Etsy ad and Etsy SEO changes that are in place right now, but I believe I've exposed a darker reason that I'm going to discuss in this video. What's up, everybody? Dave here. So in this video, I want to talk about a few things that are going on behind the scenes with Etsy's algorithm that is causing this slump in sales for a lot of Etsy sellers. Now, if you're not experiencing a September dip, then no worries. That's awesome. You might have missed this, train wreck of a September for Etsy sellers. But I do believe if you are experiencing a slump, this video is going to really, really help you. If you're new here, my name is Dave. Definitely book a free call in the description below if you want help growing your Etsy store hands-on, as well as grab the free Etsy Ads cheat sheet. I just added the Etsy update in that cheat sheet, so there's a lot of helpful information in there. Shout out to everybody that's already grabbed it. So let's jump into it. Etsy across the board has experienced a decrease in sales in September. So the first thing I want to address is, everybody saying that it is happening on X. This seller right here on X, the Flossy Stitch, 9 years on Etsy, and I've never seen it so bad. Something has changed, not sure if it's the whole US tariffs thing or what, but this is absolutely shocking. Last 7 days, I could cry. This is my full-time job and has been for 12 years. I'm heartbroken. So the sentiment is similar across the board right now for September 2025 on Etsy. The question is it from the tariffs? Is it from the Etsy algorithm changes, most notably the Etsy ads change, or is it the Etsy SEO change, or is it both? I do believe, I will say it right up front without trailing you along, definitely these changes always shuffle the deck of cards per se. If Etsy.com is one big deck of cards, our listings being the cards, algorithm changes always shuffle the deck. So you will always get caught up in sometimes a dip in sales with these algorithm changes, but that doesn't explain the sharp increase of emails or posts that I've seen personally from people discussing this same sentiment. So what I've uncovered is that according to this Marmalade article here and other articles that I've found as well, during an Etsy investor call, CEO Josh Silverman confirmed what many top sellers already suspected. Etsy's mobile app is now the main stage. Most buyers are on the mobile app. That's not crazy, shocking data. But the algorithm is being trained on behavioral data, not just keywords. And that is also something that's not very shocking. However, being tuned to be more behavioral is what I want to focus on today. And it can be a little bit shocking because if it's more behavioral and it's paying attention to less of the keywords, then this is going to result in a attention-based search result, which means you'll see similar things. We have seen similar things happen on other platforms, not marketplaces, most notably short-form content platforms. Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. What floats to the top? The most clickbaity, rage bait, brain rot possible, or watch time, retention edited possible things float to the top of your algorithm. Meaning it's not based on, for Etsy, this means it's not going to be based on keywords as much anymore, which in my opinion could end up being a disaster. And that's kind of what we're seeing already with September, is that the algorithm is just trained on behavioral things. For example, this user on X over here said, Etsy, as a seller who has recently lost almost all my views in the last month to discover irrelevant listings under the same search as my items, which are not related in the slightest, is beyond annoying. What the hell are you doing with the algorithm? And it shows a picture of Grime Guard is the search, and then some other weird thing, Grimguard, trench terrain, probably little like paintable toys for things. And I'm not sure what they sell, but they're complaining that the search results don't show what the actual keyword is showing. So what does that mean? These search results are based off what people are gravitating towards the most. In this instance, this is kind of an extenuating circumstance. However, this could relate or equate to you type in a keyword and even if it's barely related, it'll show up if it has time dwelt higher on those listings, meaning more people spend more time on those listings, just like with YouTube and watch time. The longer the watch time is on a video, the higher it ranks, the more it's suggested, even if it's barely related to you and your home feed. Things that pop through on your home feed, I'm sure you've seen that it's not really related to you, but it just popped through because it's a viral video and it's blowing up. Why? Because of the watch time. For example, like apology videos from random YouTubers can show up on your home feed and people watch through the whole thing, so it pushes it to other people that would never watch it. That is the dark, thing that I'm talking about. That's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is that AI and Etsy's new algorithm might be moving in this direction, which is why we're seeing a decrease in September sales, because we've all been using an older system, which is the system they should have stuck with, because if the Etsy algorithm and the Etsy search results are now just going to be whatever people's brains gravitate towards and read the most, then it's not going to give us as relevant search results. So if they tune it and turn the dial too far towards, behavior, then it's going to filter out actually relevant search terms and keywords, which would be terrible and which would spell the end of, not the end, but a pretty dark moment. And hopefully they can see this in the data and understand this from the community and what people are saying on the internet. For example, this X user, what happened to the Etsy search thing? Because now when I search something, I get like things that are totally irrelevant. That's kind of crazy because that's kind of what is happening. I truly think Etsy is going to go down soon. They can't get a hold on the AI listings. They're not going to do the work of verifying every Etsy store. And that kind of brings me to my next point. If they're not if these two things combine with the behavioral based algorithm plus AI slop and Temu garbage, then Etsy will just turn into a brain rot shopping platform, which is not what we want as Etsy sellers. I started 8-9 years ago as a handmade seller. And back before print on demand was huge, I was, and still in my heart, a handmade elitist. I would prefer Etsy.com to be for handmade sellers and all this kind of stuff. Print on demand has gotten pretty big on Etsy. Totally fine. I love print on demand. I've done print on demand and I help with print on demand. So it's not like the end of the world for me, but seeing where Etsy came from and where it has gone and where it might be going, I'm not saying it is for sure going this way, is kind of dark. So I wanted to share that with you. Here's another user. The influx of terabad AI slop on top of the Temu resellers has made Etsy borderline unusable. So that's kind of scary. If Etsy's algorithm goes in the direction of behavior plus all these drop shippers not getting shut down on time, then it'll get even worse. So that might be the reason why people are seeing a drop in September sales. The Etsy ad change, the SEO change, and the algorithm being dialed in more so for behavior. Now, it was always, ranked and favored for conversion rate, sales, reviews. Yeah, those are strong metrics. That's behavioral based. But now if they're saying that the time amount on each listing spent by a buyer is affecting them or something like that, it might go south in so many ways. It could. So what do we do? What do we do to move forward for this? So there are a few things. My first recommendation would be to think about carousel posts on Instagram. Each image causes you to swipe to the next one. You could somehow game the system or create infographics or base your images on this concept. So your product images could tell a little story. And at the bottom, prompt the user to swipe to the next image or click to the next image. You could tell a story in your product images that increase watch time on your Etsy listings. Plain and simple. That's why carousel posts have made a comeback recently on Instagram, because it has just as much, time of a user dwelling on that post. So keep that in mind. You could kind of gamify your product images in a carousel post-like manner. Also, improve your thumbnail images by maybe trying some text-based things or trying something new with your text on your thumbnails. And then the next thing you could do is tell people in your infographic at the end, or just period, to read the description of your Etsy listing. So they'll go look at the images. Then if you tell them to go read the description, they go and do so. That's even more time spent on that listing. That could boost ranking. So those are my immediate right off the bat ideas. And as this situation develops, I'll create more videos and talk about it with my students as well on how to, survive with this new algorithm. However, people are experiencing a decrease in September on Etsy, and I believe I made a good explanation of it today. I could be wrong, I could be right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Definitely grab the free Etsy Ads cheat sheet and book a free call in the description if you would like hands-on mentorship with me personally. I hope you have a beautiful day. God bless.